You know, the sad thing is we're never going to get to see Hall and Oates ever together again. John Oates just recently did an interview, and he said he liked to remember Hall and Oates in their peak and their prime. He said sometimes you got to know when to say when. That was quite a statement to be said in that context. That was quite the statement. Um, yeah, you know, Daryl Hall ain't been sounding so hot lately, and it is tough to see artists that you grew up watching still trying to give it one more, go at it, and they don't sound as good as they once did because you want to see them at their best. You don't want to see them watered down and being called has-beens and looking desperate for the bag. John Oates and Daryl Hall fell out because Oates wanted to sell his stock, his half of the songwriting catalog, and basically retire. And he doesn't really have to go out and do it anymore because he said, "Look, when we seen at our prime and our peak, that's not coming back." I think that's one of the toughest things for artists to accept, no matter what their medium. It's like when they hit in such a certain way, acts to get old and you see them, trying to hit a groove or trying to hit a lick or trying to do what they did and it doesn't hit the same. It's got to be tough because as a fan, you always want to think about the first time you heard it as that and remember it. It takes a lot of work on the body, on the mind, and the psyche, and so many things have to come into fruition. So, I agree with what John Oates said, and as far as Hall and Oates, they were one of my favorite duos of the late 70s, early 80s. Love their songs and I like the memories. And they definitely should be Hall of Fame worthy. They had classic songs, they had impact. Um, they paid a price for being white blue eyed soul. That's a tag that on one hand it gets you played on black radio and pop radio, etc. On the other hand, the powers that be use it against you because they think that you're too good to that. You shouldn't be doing unless it's done in a what I want to say if you're doing it in a generic way. But that's what they got. That's what the audience and black audiences love some Hall and those back in the day. They got played a whole lot. They were one of those acts that we bop to. I mean, for crying out loud, Michael Jackson said that Billie Jean was inspired by "I Can't Go For That, No Can Do," that opening. So and remember De La Soul, Say No Go used that. And a lot of people use Hall and Oates. Hall and Oates were some cool white cats. We don't even go front. We look forward to the sax players' riffs and the guitar parts, and we just dug what they for the most part. You know, they couldn't do no wrong because One on One was a slow jam. You know, that jam, and Sarah Smile is what sealed the deal. That's what got them to pass at the cookout. So let's keep it 100. But I agree with John Oates. Um, this goes for any of the acts that we love. We don't want to see you like you falling over 3 sheets in the